Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hi, Adam. Black Cat. Jack, how are you? Some new names for me. Hope everyone had a good Christmas holiday season. We're all hanging by our fingernails waiting for this fiscal cliff scenario to unfold. My big trade for the last 2 weeks was a short side of Aussie. Hoping for a rally. Okay, let's get started. Starting off with the S&Ps. We had this big panic. Happened on the solstice. This was a Mayan break at a 50 handle decline in the aftermarket. Most likely going to get some type of retest here. I think it's going to be pretty important for the market to hold that spike low. And I know there are still some bulls that are making a case for one more new high. I think maybe at least a retest of these levels. A weak dollar would help that scenario unfold. We talked about the commodity complex for several months. Gold, we had a target. I had a target of 1650, which has been achieved. Possibility that we're not quite done yet in the gold market. That there could be one more low coming in here. Since we did on the daily confirm down here. The surprise has been the strength in the crude market. And I still think that there's one decent decline coming that could still take us beneath the $80 level. I think that'll be the buy of the year in 2013. So last week I left you with being bearish Aussie, constructive Canadian. Those two ideas were profitable. I stayed stubborn, being short Euro GBP, and am underwater on that. Here's your crude market here. Still believe that we could have one more decline, clean out all the longs under here, trade under 80, and then I expect some type of geopolitical event, perhaps in the spring, to evolve, and that we'll have crude trading well above $100 sometime next year, and that would augur for a much lower USDCAD, much higher Canadian dollar, but perhaps we still get this push up in Canada before that happens. Copper had a very strong day, but I can't make as much out of it because there are proposals for ETFs which would definitely take up some of the supply. Hey Merck, how are you? So we had a pretty powerful day in copper yesterday and crude. So those are industrial. I think a lot of it has to do with China. We'll see what we do up here at the 385 level. This was a pretty good decline, tied in with the decline in the S&P. And something I want to show people that I think is really a precursor of how bad it could get for the Aussie is this ETF on the Aussie. Symbol FXA. I still think that we have a probable subpar Aussie dollar coming sometime in the first quarter. Okay, here's your ETF. So we actually left an island top. So this is pretty negative action. This all really happened in the last 7 trading days. So perhaps we try and rally once if the S&Ps can regroup after the news and we get some type of rally in this FXA. This is the it's EWA. That's the ETF for the Aussie. So it trades just like the currency. This is what I was talking about. EWA is the symbol, if you want to begin to follow it. So you have a lot of longs stuck. Who knew this was going to happen the next day? So perhaps we're going to get a rally into this gap. This is an island top as well. But this is definitely pretty negative action, and the kind of action where, people are, bullish commodities, and China's doing well, and this is your Aussie ETF, and Aussie has been one of the preferred long currencies, and then overnight you have a gap like this. You have a lot of people trapped all the way above here. So I'd look for rallies here, just like I'm looking for rallies in Aussie to sell into. Best guess in Aussie is around the 104.5 level. A lot of people cited that as strong support. So let's move over to the pairs now. Who learned a few things from me in 2012? Give me a Y if you have. While we're waiting for this demo account to come up. Merck learned a few things. Good. What did you learn? Black Cat learned? What's the one major thing that your eyes have been open to? That's very important. Good, Merck. Okay. Let's start off with USDCAD. Definitely came out of the hole. There were lots of divergences. We were talking about this wedge last week that it broke out of, and we talked about looking for perhaps the 101 level. Looks to be in gear, doing nothing wrong, at least today, that's for sure. So Canada still looks good. This would imply more weakness coming in S&Ps since it's a risk-off currency, and holding up very well despite the strength in crude. Give me a Y if you're with me on that correlation. That crude has been very strong the last few days and really hasn't been able to hurt Canada, even with a strong euro and so forth. So Canada is acting pretty good. Probably have to look to buy breaks. I don't know if I would chase it here. But the potential to retrace all of this. Perhaps if we get some type of resolution that the market likes, they take this back for some type of retest. But it's doing nothing wrong on a 4-hour basis. Daily's still looking okay. I'd prefer, if I was flat, to just wait until the new year, and if we get a rally in the S&Ps to challenge the highs, at that point I'd be looking for a buy. Perhaps they try and shake out longs, and we try even one more marginal new low, or perhaps back towards this wedge line, which would be a retest of the lows. Moving over to pound dollar, it's definitely been weaker than the euro. That has definitely shown itself in EG, with EG heading up to some significant resistance. See, I'm underwater 100 pips on this. But what's interesting about EG, and then I'll get back to the euro, is that we've retraced back to this breakdown of 82.20, and now we're lower on the day, and it's still my contention that we get some type of correction and can even see a 79 handle again. So all of this work that we've done all the way back towards the lows in July. So we've had 6 months of a recovery in EG, and perhaps even though this is good and it has implications for a bearish dollar scenario longer term, that we get one shakeout to take out some of the longs that are long above 82 and 81 and even back at these levels. And in fact, halfway back would take us to about 79.5, and 61.8 will give us still give us the upper 78 handle. So I'm staying short on EG. So the pound, we've had some disappointing action over the last 3-4 days. I really do not know exactly what I want to do with it, so I stand aside. Same with the euro, except obviously if I'm going to stay short EG, I think that perhaps the euro is going to correct, but EG could work even if the dollar goes down if the pound begins to outperform the euro. So again, just like last week, had no opinion, didn't know what to do, and that's okay. You don't have to be in every market. You know, it really only takes one. If you have conviction about one pair, you stick with it. If you think you have the pattern down and the count down and all the important technical areas to pay attention to, and for me, that's still in the Aussie. May have been a mistake to let go of everything. I had in this account still short, shows the shorts from up around the count where I was talking about it'd be a good short from 5.25 to 5.50. And you know, the potential does exist for us to push all the way down towards this 101 level. Here's one drive, two drive, here's another. So I'd be looking, if we get one, for some type of rally back towards 104.30, 104.40 on some resolution and recovery in S&Ps to get short. There's still even potential for us to trade subpar because once we test this, in fact, I tweeted a pattern. I said 105.50 high down to 103.50, then a bounce, then down to 101.50, then a bounce, and then potential for 98.30 to 97.60 to come back and test this whole triangle. So the potential of a subpar Aussie is still there. Interesting, on the weekly, we're holding some of these moving averages. So to me right now, any rallies in Aussie, 80 to 100 pip rally to me is definitely viewed as a selling opportunity in Aussie. So that's something that, you know, I'm going to be looking for going into the new year. Perhaps we have a full moon tomorrow. Perhaps we're putting in some type of short-term low here. But compared to euro, compared to the pound, last week the dollar was down against euro substantially, and we had a very negative week in Aussie USD. So it's telling me that the commodity markets have not bottomed yet, that there's still going to be some vulnerability, in fact maybe a significant high in the S&Ps going into 2013, and that the Aussie is going to be another good proxy for risk off, and perhaps we trade all the way back down towards this 97.60 at a 97.60 potential target, 98.40, 97.60, and then the S&Ps straighten themselves out, and then we have another big dollar break. Give me a Y if you're with me on this. Of course, the big story is the yen. Possibility that, we've reached some targets. I can't chase the yen up here. In fact, there'll probably be, if I really wanted to hear the ice crack, the most contrarian trade on the board, we talked about this last week, and we had a pretty good break, would be Aussie yen. And as you can see, with Aussie yen making new highs on the daily, we're not confirming. On the 4-hour, we're not confirming. So we have divergence on the daily, the 4-hour, and it's not ideal because it went above 70, but still diverging even on the shorter time frames. So if you really want to be a contrarian, this would be the pair to short upon some type of resolution. Just wrap it up with Swiss. Again, it looks like the dollar is turning up. Nothing ideal there. But on the 4-hour, we had a nice divergence, as you can see here. Thought we might go for 3 drives, but it doesn't look like that's happening. So just to review, S&Ps perhaps after they trade 1410, there's one more rally. I think taking out 1390 would be very negative. Still believe that gold has not put in a true important bottom yet. Would say that the most vulnerable currency on the board for dollar strength would be the short side of Aussie. USDCAD getting good in the face of stronger crude prices. And over the last month, we held that. I've been able to offer you different tools for you to consider in your trading and value effects streak. And as we go into new year, I wouldn't want to happen new year. And as we reflect on the last year, remember to something, and I'll stick that here. Thanks for attention. Any questions before I say goodbye? Okay, well that's a wrap. Look to sell rallies in the Aussie, if we get one. Good hunting to everybody. Happy New Year. You're welcome. Change to what's win 8, Merc? Okay, Chuck. Okay. Adios.